I'm making this video because I am sick and tired of hearing the mask wearers and the self-righteous establishment defenders complain and degrade people that do not wear a mask and conform to tyranny, calling them conspiracy theorists, extremely selfish, narcissists, screaming aloud that we don't care about anyone other than ourselves. Nothing could be further from the truth. So let me tell you this. I do not wear a mask because I do not support the closure of businesses and the lives that are destroyed because of that, and the fact that the billionaires are now trillionaires because of this insanity. I do not support the 25% increase in suicide worldwide. I do not support the psychological damage that it is doing to our children, the devastating effect that it is having on them. To see a small child social distance and be afraid to walk by you is very, very sad. Hitler said, and I quote, "Give me a nation of children, and I will create a world of men that think like me." I do not support old people dying alone in nursing homes without their family around them, or the fact that in some countries, where euthanasia is allowed, they opt for this option because they're so tired of the loneliness inflicted on them. And yes, I do not consent to wearing a filthy rag on my face and breathing in my own toxic waste, causing my immune system to be lowered and less effective, therefore increasing my chances of picking up anything that's going quicker, or breathing in dangerous plastics and lowering the oxygen to my brain and body. So all of you people out there that think that you're doing the right thing, at least take a long, hard look at what I said here and own up to what you're really supporting by the wearing of the mask. And don't ever tell me or people like me that we do not care. And remember, during World War II, it was propaganda that made people think they were doing the right thing by eliminating the useless feeders, as they were called back then. Bit by bit, they consented to the totalitarianism, and slowly over time, they gave their freedom away. The Holocaust happened because people consented to it. And do not forget that the mask does not work. The cloth masks, the particles come out from the front. The plastic ones, or the surgical ones, they go out from the sides. And if they go out, the particles go out, they're going to come in. The HSE admitted under the Freedom of Information Act last week that they have no scientific evidence or records to prove that masks effectively stop the spread of infection, protect the person wearing one, or that they're even safe to wear. Likewise, they also admitted that they have no scientific evidence to prove that lockdowns stop the spread of infection either. Their response was, "This body does not hold the records which you have sought. Records concerned do not exist." So what does that tell you? Well, it screams to me that this is not about health. This is about control and biotyranny. We are now living in the twilight zone, in the interim period, which involves, through propaganda, conditioning people to being controlled, turning them against each other. It's all outlined in the World Economic Forum website and all the control measures that they planned for us, including the imminent Great Reset. Please, for your own good, inform yourselves. These are conspiracy facts. Go and check it out. As long as fear and disunity exist, there will always be war. A divided country cannot stand. Only love can unite all people. Do you not miss the laughter, the crack, the spontaneous ability to hug and kiss, the dancing, the music, the theatre? Think about the world you are creating for your children. And all for a virus that they have still been unable to isolate. Again, admitted by the HSE. A virus that has a 99.997% survival rate from ages 1 to 9, from 20 to 49 a 99.98%, from age 50 to 69 a 99.5% survival rate, and from 70 plus a 94.6%. Pretty high chance of surviving it, don't you think? Last year there was no more deaths recorded than any other year, but since the COVID rollout in Ireland, the deaths have begun to and have continued to spike by 20 or more people daily. Also, the World Health Organization recently updated their guidance saying that COVID diagnosis should only be made with a second confirmatory test and clinical evidence of symptoms. Hear that? Clinical evidence of symptoms. Also, that the PCR test, its findings are useless and meaningless if the amplification CT or cycle threshold is more than 35 cycles, because it creates a positive result by amplifying viral debris and dead viruses going back to when you were a child. In Ireland, the HSE has admitted that they use a CT or cycle threshold of 40 to 45 cycles. So that's how we're getting all these false positives and these false amount of high cases, which are and what is keeping our country under a legal lockdown. Wake up. Absolute power is never taken, it is always given away. This is the greatest psyop the world has ever known. Propaganda is hypnotizing the masses and deceiving them, and the fuel for that is fear. And because the majority of people are compliant, they're walking themselves and their children and grandchildren into a sinister, draconian trap. Global technocratic communism is being ushered in on top of us, and the majority of Irish people are just giving their freedom away. This all was planned a very long time ago, but now they have the digital infrastructure in place to make it happen. I do not support this, and I do not consent to this. So again, do not turn around and tell me that I do not care. I care very, very much. And I'm hoping that people, when you see me and people like me, that you too will have the courage to take off your masks and say no to this diabolical plan and refuse to have any part in its making and creating.